Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I've got a brand new pedal to show you. So new in fact, I'm not even sure it's been officially released yet. This here is the Jim Hagerman Thermionic Reinforcer, which I think is possibly my favourite ever name for a tube-based pedal. Now, Jim has an amplifier called the PP12, and this is basically the preamp section of that amplifier in pedal form. So you can use it, as I'm going to use it today, into the front end of an amp as a really lovely high voltage 2-stage tube overdrive pedal, but you can also run it into your effects loop return or directly into a power amp to basically create yourself a PP12. So that's another function of this pedal. Now it has two channels. The first channel here is just the first 12AX7, and it's broadly similar to this, Jim's more standard blue tube overdrive, but it has the additional contour control on the front end. Now I'm not sure if this is exactly what this knob is doing, but to me it seems to be a little bit like an EQ for your clean guitar signal before it goes into the rest of the pedal. So you can turn it up, it gets brighter, turn it down, it gets darker, but it also seems to affect the mid-range. So I tend to run it a little bit above 12 as standard because that adds a real nice Marshall-y snap to the upper mid-range, but you can turn it down, especially if you compensate with the treble control. You can make it a lot more kind of scoopy, a bit like a glassy Fender. So it's really nice to have that extra functionality. But the real magic of this pedal is the second channel, which you activate by standing on the clip button. Now that brings in the second 12AX7, so of course the gain's going to go up. But Jim has worked some magic to this tube, and how he's done it, I don't really know. He did try to explain it to me, but it went very much over my head. Now, as we know, tubes clip asymmetrically. So as you'll see on screen now, the top of the waveform is being chopped off, whereas the bottom is still a sine wave. And as you push it harder, the bottom will start to clip too, but it won't be the same as the top. And that's what creates the lovely feel and sound that we know and love with tubes. But back in the 80s, various amp modders started to use things like clipping diodes in the preamp section of amplifiers to basically create a much harder edge distortion sound. And Jim has managed to do that with this second tube. So this tube clips symmetrically, and as you'll see, it clips in a much more severe hard-edged way. So it has a really kind of distortion-like spitty sound to it, and it is just a much harder edge sound than you would typically associate from a tube pedal. But the first channel is cascaded into that second tube, so you can use the EQ really creatively, boost the low end to make it really spongy, shelve the low end off to make it much tighter. So you can use this pedal in so many creative ways, but the magic he's worked with that tube is very, very special. So today I'm going to use a telly into my JTM 45 clone and just cycle through what this pedal is capable of, because there are so many epic sounds within it. So please do comment underneath folks, let me know what you think of the Thermionic Reinforcer today. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks down in the comment section. And without further ado, here we go.